You'd rather have a bowl of Cocoa Pops. Basically, it's the cereal where a monkey fucks your wife.
God, I could just imagine some woman bent over a table in horror as a fucking monkey from the Cocoa Pops boxes fucks her. That's crazy.
Get the fuck back in the kitchen and take your goddamn hands off a fucking video game controller. Fucking stupid bitch.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Absolutely, and he doesn't sound like he's 16 years old.
It doesn't sound like a complete fucking bellend that doesn't represent, what is it? Anybody.
Mostly they will call you a bitch or a whore or a slut.
Are you though?
Shut up, bitch.
Rape threats, death threats, harassment.
Who was that?
Oh,
Literally have no idea who
really?
was that.
I've never seen that Brianna Wu before.
Brianna who? Literally, who?
Whew.
That's an old joke, but it's still funny.
I know.
After I kill you, I'm gonna be a necro and rape your body.
Guess what, bitch? I know where
Again,
you live.
You're a
15,
fat fucking whore.
16 years old.
Female gamers get that a lot. Female gamers.
Sorry, KSI. You
Oh
are
my
a twat.
Oh my god, KSI, one of the most terrible misogynist people that's ever disgusted the fucking YouTube community. This guy who went round conventions and got girls to touch their tits.
Inventor of the rape face, I believe, or at least proliferator of.
Oh, BBC.
He's a great person to be talking on this. He's definitely not trying to make himself look like less of a dick bag.
No. Do you know what? On one of his videos I watched, he was doing a Q&A and he was saying that what's the best advice you've ever been given? And he just shook his head at the camera and went, pull out.
Sorry for that. It's pretty funny.
I know, but I was just like, okay, that's, no philosophy there, just pull out. Congrats.
Fair enough. Let's continue, shall we?
Yeah, okay.
Always get abused.
You bitch.
Just for the sake of them playing games, they get abused.
Yeah, what is it? Everyone on fucking games. It's called Smack Talk, folks. It's a thing.
If you make yourself known as a female, it's just a really obvious red flag that they can go after.
I'm gonna impregnate you with triplets and then make you have a very late term abortion.
Shut up, bitch.
Wait a second. Again, these voices, you can hear them. They're like 15. Are they on Xbox Live?
That was definitely on Xbox Live, I'm sure of it.
It's just... Xbox
I mean, it's the cesspit of gaming.
Don't get me wrong, Sony's not that much better. But... Okay, sorry. I needed to be sure.
Well, my name is Miss 5000 Watts on YouTube, gaming consoles, and pretty much everywhere. I've been gaming since I was like 2 years old.
When was that, last week?
That just looked like it was going to tell you about how much of a rapist she is. It's just that's so dramatic. So, ooh, this woman likes to touch hamsters and their pee-pee parts.
God.
No.
My channel is largely based on just gameplay, and that was kind of a conscious decision when starting it, and people didn't know what I looked like for about a year because I didn't want people to be like, it's a girl, let's go watch her because she's a girl. I wanted it to be like, this is my opinions, this is how I play the game, and this is my
Well, they wouldn't be able to tell who you were just by your voice.
Or I don't know if she's saying that it was just gameplay, so one assumes that she's just one of these assholes that just uploads a game verbatim of them playing it, generally not amazingly, not terribly, which is just the worst kind of channel.
Look at the detail in that Tomb Raider game as well. She's got that full whack. She must have a really good PC.
Oh god, you're such a fan.
I would say that Call of Duty was probably the worst one when it came to negative comments. I think I had my headset and mic on once. Every other game.
Oh, I heard it once, and then I never went on again. So my fucking opinion on this is really well researched. Well done. Well done, golf clap. Golf clap for that one. And what's that magical thing you can do on Xbox Live? It's this amazing, it's secret. I don't think they tell anybody you can do it. But you can block people and mute them.
Shut up, that's outrageous.
I know, it's science fiction, man. Fucking
Unforeseen hard sci-fi right there, I'm afraid.
Was focusing on the fact that
What,
I
are
was
you
a girl.
communist?
And yes, I'm sure that maybe if I was a guy, they'd say horrible things anyway, but it's just something that they pick on.
So what's your point?
Yeah, you just destroyed your own argument there. Because guys do that stuff all the time. And if you're not tough enough to take it, then don't do it.
The demonstrable fact that men get it worse on the internet destroys every last bit of this. But it's happening to girls, so we have to have feels about it. If it's happening to boys, well, who gives a shit?
It's just... It just makes me sick that, you know, you've got to expect some kind of, like, abuse from kids. And these people, they're kids. Every voice so far has not been an adult. You know, over the age of...
Definitely not.
Over the age of 17. And you're whinging about kids on the internet that are probably very rich and got nothing better to do. Their parents ignore them. So basically, the only attention they get is through trolling. I mean, this is like...
They wouldn't even necessarily be rich. They'd just be kids with an Xbox.
Well, okay, but it's just... I don't know. It just seems to me like...
What's the phrase? Children can be so cruel.
Well, yeah, but... I mean, children are cruel. But at the end of the day, they're also... Like, they're not even emotionally developed yet.
Well, that's the thing. Teenagers literally don't think like adults.
No, they don't.
They can't. They're incapable of that kind of empathy. So, of course, they're going to say fucking horrendous things because they think it's clever. Because they're children.
Yeah.
You just
And
go,
they're selfish, too.
That's a
They've
child.
got nothing else to think about but themselves.
Yeah. But that's a child. I shall ignore them. Block.
Yeah.
And it's that simple. And if it's not that simple for you, maybe you're the problem.
Absolutely.
Let's continue.
That thing that's there that they can just say, oh, you're a girl, you shouldn't be playing games. And it definitely happens a lot.
You might go online and nothing will happen, but there's every likelihood that someone will be like, just...
Oh my God. You might go online, nothing will happen. You might go online, something will happen. It's like reality.
I've actually heard this girl before. She used to do a lot of stuff with Matt Leeds on the Daft Souls podcast. She's actually very eloquent, but I don't know.
Obviously not very bright.
Well, I don't know what she's going to say further here, but I don't know anyone associated with Matt Leeds now. I just don't really respect that much anymore. But we'll see.
It's just a walking, talking haircut, that man.
Reel off some sort of misogynistic abuse.
I've talked to a few girls who have YouTube channels or who are just gamers, and they do think about whether they want to actually plug in their microphone, which is a shame.
If I'm playing GTA Online, for example, I choose not to use a headset because I know what will happen if I do, pretty much.
You're missing out on something.
Like most people who play online.
This is the thing I was thinking about, that a lot of people who play online, I mean, I don't. You could use your mic playing Dark Souls, don't get me wrong, nobody does it.
Nobody does it.
Yeah, but a lot of people did in the beginning, but we all stopped doing it because it was just too weird. But
especially in a game like Dark Souls, it's just like, it's about the stranger. It's about doing the emotes.
Unless you're with a team of people playing a specific game, I don't actually see the point in using a mic, because anyone who uses the mic in an online game is just an annoying prick anyway.
Well, most people who use it with strangers are fucking weirdos.
Exactly. And this is
because it's a weird thing to do.
If you're with your mates, you don't have anything to worry about. But
it's a completely different dynamic. I talk to people like you. I talk to people I know and that I like and that I know aren't going to make me feel really fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I turn off most of the in-game chat. Most people do this because people who talk on the things are just fucking weirdos. But let the weirdos have their stupid things.
Absolutely.
Whatever, who cares? Sometimes it's fucking hilarious.
Sometimes it is. Like, I mean, we've all watched YouTube videos with people on Xbox Live with stupid fucking names. Like, there was one guy with Jesus died lol. And it was just like people reacting to that and like some people taking it seriously. But you know what I mean? It's all attention-seeking, trolly shit. It's just, okay, go on, keep going.
You don't have the feeling of, oh, I'm going to put my headset on, put my mic on, I'm going to play this game, talk to some people, talk strategy, and have a great time.
Again, no one does that.
No one does that. I don't think I've ever once experienced it.
We could go and ask any number of people that we know who play games, and I bet the vast majority of them will say, yeah, I don't bother with the headset, it's just full of wankers, isn't it?
I mean, don't get me wrong here. There must be like people that we've all met online through different games, perhaps, that we've had
but most
fairly good
of what
experience.
I've spoken, people I've met through games, it's always been text chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the friend I made on Steam through Rocket League also played Dark Souls 2, and we played that for a while together.
Yeah, and you send messages through the Steam in-game thing or the game's own stuff.
I don't even know the gender of the person either, because they're quite ambiguous with their name and their Steam avatar. So I don't actually know if they're a boy or a girl. No, it doesn't matter. What I'm saying to you is that sometimes that's the case, because that's the only way you communicate. So it's irrelevant to me what you are. If you're good at a game and you want to play with me, that's fine. You know, I don't like talk to the person on a very personal level. It's just sometimes I get a message from them saying, "You want to play some Dark Souls 2 for a bit?" And I'll be like, "Okay."
The only thing that matters is that they're good enough for you.
Mm.
You're not going to play with someone because they're a man if they're fucking terrible at the game.
They're great at ganking, so you know, whatever. Sorry.
Let's carry on.
Yeah, carry on. Sorry.
Dance.
I've always been a gamer since I was little, and you know, it's part of my life. I think people just think it's a bit weird that I play games at all.
I've always been a gamer. Oh, yeah.
I've always been a gamer.
Fucking games. Oh, have you got any game? Got any game? Yeah, you got any game on you? Yeah.
She looks like she's going to jump over the table and chew the camera.
It's predominantly male, and it's hard to get into it as a girl. But,
No, it isn't predominantly male. It isn't.
Well, it depends on which bit you're talking about.
Well, don't get me wrong. If you're talking PC, probably not. But
if you're talking core gaming, it's predominantly male. If you're talking games as in every game that ever existed, then it's about 50-50 with a slight bias towards women because, well, there are more women.
Because Farmville.
Yeah. And I'm sorry to anybody who goes...
Say, actually.
The reaction is, they count as games too. Yes, they do count as games, but they are not core games. If you think they are core games, you're not a gamer.
Okay, fair enough.
I can't imagine that you even fucking understand what gaming is if all you do is play Farmville. And that's not... There is a gaming culture that includes memes and ideas and talking about Zelda and Mario and Sonic and all these old school stuff and new school stuff. But if you exclusively play Farmville and that's all you know, you are not part of that culture. You just fucking aren't.
That's okay.
You can call yourself a gamer. We disagree ever so slightly.
No, I don't think they do though. I don't think they do call themselves gamers.
I can't imagine one of them would. But there are people who will defend that position as they are gamers too. And it's just like, but they're not.
Well, no, I think that I think that's wrong. I think that they shouldn't be necessarily gamers, but I don't think they should be excluded from anything else though. I don't think that they should if they wanted to try other stuff.
It's not about excluding them, it's about changing things to suit them. I am not willing to do.
No. I mean,
because they're not fucking important.
Well, no, that's my point. I mean, when people bought the Nintendo Wii, they wanted the bowling game. That's what they wanted when they went into shops, you know.
And the baseball and the tennis.
They
wanted the thing that came with the Wii Sports game.
My mother and my stepfather, they don't consider themselves gamers, but they play Words with Friends all the time.
Yeah.
They've got games going constantly.
But
my mum doesn't consider herself a gamer.
Those games are board games.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes, they're electronic board games. They are not what you consider when you think video game.
My mum's not going to wear a Gamergate shirt now, is she? Let's be fair, all right? It's not going to happen.
She's probably going to buy into the line that it's about misogyny or it's a battle of the sexes. You know, I mean, essentially, it doesn't really even
My mum would tell those people to go fuck themselves. She would. She'd tell them they're talking nonsense and to grow up. That's what my mum would do.
Right.
Yeah,
Let's continue in, considering we're like
Cool.
2 fucking minutes in.
The point of gaming is to kind of bring people together.
What? Sorry, the point of gaming is to bring people together. No, incorrect. False. The point of gaming is to play games. That's all I have to say about that.
We accept everybody here. If you're coming here to play games and make a bit of an effort to fit in with the community, then you're welcome.
I feel like most women play games in some way or form. It's on their phone or, a little bit here or there.
These people be given speed.
Well, they're in some sort of fucked up club. And she's just oh, you're definitely a gamer if you play a bit of game on your phone. Yeah. Or something here or there. Not being specific, basically saying not a real gamer.
What do we
That's
call
what she's saying.
This is probably a question I should have asked before the video, before we started recording, but what do we call people who play board games? Like people who play Magic and stuff like that, and D&D.
Technically, okay, we call them gamers.
Oh, really? Okay.
I believe so. But they would sort of, we're board gamers.
Yeah, I imagine that they would be a bit more.
They would definitely differentiate. I'm a gamer. I play board games. People who play D&D. I've heard them refer to themselves. Now, obviously, I'm not an expert. Before anybody goes off the handle and says how wrong I am, but
I would be
as
okay
far
with
as
them
I've
calling
heard,
themselves gamers, though. Is what I'm saying.
it is a game. I mean, it's all about semantics and details and stuff.
Unless you're Warhammer, in which case, fuck Warhammer.
But there is a subculture called gaming. There are, a subgroup called gamers. When I am talking about gaming and gamers, this is what I'm talking about. And if you don't do things that make you a part of that community, you're not a part of that community. No matter how much someone says you are. My fucking mum, who likes a bit of Tetris, isn't a fucking gamer.
I don't know, you got to be hardcore to love Tetris, mind.
Everybody likes Tetris. It's just one of those fucking games. Right, we need to fucking...
Even if a woman doesn't play games, they're like, these days, familiar enough with games that it's not really strange anymore.
Back in the day, I used to do some stuff like towards women, and looking back now, it's just out of order, like completely out of order. Like back then, I didn't.
Oh, that's right, because he's a rapper now, isn't he? So he's like trying to preserve his image, I imagine.
Is he gone full SJW tard?
I don't know. I haven't paid attention to KSI for too long.
Has he bowed down to the fucking temple and fucking thrown his love towards Grand Goddess Anita Sarkeesian?
I don't know. Does he love a girl? Is he Steve Shived himself?
Oh God, no.
What if he has?
Oh, I swear to God, that's an abusive relationship.
You're rapping as sexist. Poor sod. Actually, he deserves everything he gets. He's a twat.
Who's Steve Shives or KSI?
Both.
I wouldn't wish that on anybody, you horrible human being.
know any better. That's the thing. I was just like, this is just jokes, blah, blah, blah. Women can't play with gays, blah, 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 blah.
You were clearly eloquent when you believed these things.
Dude, this guy, literally, like, this guy is the embodiment of Xbox Live. He really is.
He is. I know KSI.
He's very successful at what he does, and he's a smart man. He's smart.
Well, he's a businessman. He's
absolutely,
obviously done
and he's very
something
shrewd,
right.
and he's done a good thing. He did say he was talking to other people. I think it was the Mobo Awards or something like that. Was it him or was it someone else? I don't know. I can't. Citation needed on that, so just keep going because I can't remember. It's fine.
Blah. And then obviously I've got older and I've become a lot more wise, and I just realised like back then I was a fool.
Being a female, it makes yourself a target. I have had people assume that I'm a guy and therefore start using very homophobic language towards me and things like that. That's the default. If you're not female and they can't go after that, it's homophobic language.
Like boys get it, girls get it, everyone gets it. As a YouTube gaming vlogger, of course I get her.
So again, are we destroying our own argument here? that everybody gets it because it's.
I'm wondering what angle they're using to use KSI. Are they using a redemption angle with KSI, or are they? I'm so skeptical. Shit. Or are they using KSI as a means to beat other men with, because how misogynist he's been before and probably still is to a certain degree.
The ultimate thing is, like, there's the argument that this is just how things are, and people don't think that stands up, but it kind of does, because the argument is that the vast majority of people aren't like that. And you can't. It's the idea of using like a massive hammer to deal with an insect. You're just going to smash your table in. We either remove all ability for anyone to ever communicate with each other, or we have a simple option, like the block button. I will go on about the block button until I fucking die.
Absolutely. It's funny because I honestly think if you took people's ability to type to each other, or you took people's abilities away to talk to each other, we would develop a body language thing with movement control.
We do. I mean, Dark Souls is that.
Oh, with the gesture system, absolutely.
Yeah, Dark Souls is absolutely that. Is a communication system based on that, which is why it's such a brilliant game. But the thing is, I also think that removing it would hurt gaming.
Of course it would.
Because I would never ever know who any of these people are. I would never make new friends through games directly. Just because some people are assholes. We have block systems.
I
we
met
have
some really
reporting
colourful
systems
characters that weren't assholes in gaming.
Sounded like you said really colourful crackers then.
I meet a lot of crackers. Being a cracker.
But yeah. It's, again, they're just defeating their own argument. It happens to everyone. You just ignore it and you block them. I don't give a shit what someone says to you. Mean words on the internet don't fucking matter.
It's just how it is. Like, there's nothing you can do about
KSI.
it. I've seen women get tons of abuse just for the sake of them playing games. They get abused because they're like, you shouldn't be playing games. You're a woman.
And if you're crap at games, you shouldn't be playing games, you faggot. Or you've got no dick. Or whatever. Doesn't matter.
Go back to the kitchen.
My name is Jenny Hanover. I run a website called notinthekitchenanymore.com, which is a collection of experiences I've had as a female gamer.
Jenny, I got your number, you big fat slut.
People get teased and shit-talked on video games, but there's a different element to it when you're a woman.
Because vagina.
Jenny, your fucking pussy smells like rotten fish.
There's kind of a different vibe to it that you don't belong in gaming because you are a woman.
When it comes to sexual stuff, women will definitely get it more, way more, like with the abuse, because it doesn't really work to sexualize guys. It's like, it's just not a thing. Whereas for women, it's just like.
Yeah, but how are you going to know that? How are you going to know that?
Well, the other thing is, if you do know that one's a man, one's a woman, it's just completely different insults.
Again, see, I've met a lot of colourful characters. The best Halo player I've ever seen was someone I played with quite a lot. She was a girl, and you knew she was a girl because she was a female Spartan. She's the best player of Halo I've ever seen, and she would just rack it up. I mean, I would get 22 kills just through her causing, terrible stuff to happen, just like mass murderer. She was so good at the game. But I mean,
you knew she was a girl because female armor. Did you?
Yeah, she was a female Spartan. Well, no. She was my friend on Xbox Live, and we talked.
She was your friend,
well.
right? She was someone you actually knew. I mean, if you were making the assumption that, dressed as a woman,
lots
must
of
have
people
been a
play as
woman.
girls. I play as girls. So
like you.
Yeah, absolutely. But the point I'm trying to make is that she would suffer abuse, but she just didn't care and didn't reply. It just didn't bother her. And if it got bad, because sometimes people would send her messages all the time, and she would just use the active block button.
Yeah.
She never had to go too far. I mean, all right, I'll admit that as a woman you have to be careful, but you know what? Sometimes as a guy you have to be careful too.
As a human being interacting with other human beings, you have to be careful. This is the point I'm hammering home.
Absolutely.
This is the point that they don't get, is that it's not worse because you're a woman. It's the same. It's actually usually men are getting it worse. But just because you have more fifis doesn't make it actually worse. Reallys before feelies.
Oh, sick boobs, or great ass, or great this, great that.
Hey, girl. You want to have sex?
Sometimes on the internet, people seem to fairly randomly send me
This girl I like.
rape threats. Someone sent me a Facebook message saying that they would rape me if they ever saw me in person. I checked his Facebook account, and it turned out that it was actually a young boy. So what I decided
No shit, Sherlock.
to do was reach out to someone listed on his Facebook profile, and I managed to find his mum incredibly easily, actually. I think he was terrified. His mum made him handwrite me a letter of apology, and that was mailed to me. So
I remember this, and to be honest, a pretty amusing way of dealing with a little shit.
For IGN, though, this girl, she's really good.
And turnabout's fair play. If someone's going to send you shitty little messages, if you can get a hold of their mum and send them what they sent you, fair fucking play. What you don't do is get them fired.
No.
What you don't do is destroy their life because they made you feel bad. Because those two things are not fucking equal. Those two things are horrendous when made to be analogous.
Then again, we're not talking about kids now, are we? We're talking about adult social justice warriors doing it to other adults. What I'm saying is that the two are interchangeable. They're not. They're not the same thing. They are the same in terms of, abusiveness, but they're not the same thing in terms of, even legality is different. But the way that she's dealt with that is a good way of doing it. Although I'm not necessarily sure. I mean, if it was constant, then obviously whether it's a child or not, you take it to the police and you deal with it, or you block them and see what happens. But I don't know. It's tough, isn't it?
At the end of the day, criminal harassment. If someone's criminally harassing you, then you take it to the police.
Absolutely, you go to the police every
and if the police
time.
Find it credible, then they deal with it.
Absolutely,
but you don't get your hundreds of thousands of mates.
Yeah.
To do lynch mob justice, because that's not justice.
Nope.
So, yeah.
I think that worked out well in the end, and I doubt that he will ever do that again.
Okay.
The blog started because I was always trying to showcase what sort of comments I got, because people who don't experience it are always surprised and oh, these horrible things. It's well, this is what I've been talking about, but if I have to show evidence, then cool, okay, we'll do it.
Yes, you do have to show evidence.
I was going to say, absolutely. I know this girl too. She's actually pretty funny. But go on.
I just the fact that she had to say that and the way she said it annoyed me. Oh, if I have to show evidence, I guess I'll prove that these people actually did what I'm saying they said. You should really just believe me. I still think that the grey out just makes it look like we're looking at some sort of person of interest. Rapist, terrorist.
Hosting the European Call of Duty Championships, and someone had sent me a message saying, I'd like to finger you. So I said, why does your penis not work? You'll get quite a weirdly sexualized comment, and you'll respond, and then they don't understand why you're annoyed. I had one comment which was, I'll pay you $5,000 a day just to touch your tits. And when I sort of responded, they sort of got really annoyed that I wasn't just taking it as a compliment.
I would love $5,000 a day to just have someone touch my tits. That is the best job I've ever fucking heard of.
I don't know.
Is it for each time they touch? Because I'll just do it for a day solid.
Oh man, you would totally just accidentally brush against them, wouldn't you? Just to rack it up. No pun intended.
Is it like some sort of game where you're just running at people, whacking them with your tits, and it's just ba-ding, 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 and 5,000 just appears above your head? I may be thinking too much into this.
Yeah, I think you are. Keep going.
I would pay you. That's how much I like you. I would pay you money to touch your breasts. How can you not see that as a compliment? As much as sort of people look at kind of the comments I get and think, oh, this is really awful, actually the level of comments that I get compared to some other women, which is really hateful, violent, sexually violent comments, I can laugh some of these off.
Because she's attractive,
if you're actually in
though.
fear of your own self, that's a completely different level.
Rape threats, death threats, harassment.
Who's this?
Having
I don't know. Literally, who is this? Just can't even. They're definitely a completely irrelevant human being.
God, we're totally dad joking this. Just keep going.
private information about myself posted. It's become a daily occurrence at my studio. I actually have an employee at my company, and her entire role is to just simply.
Wait, you would inflict that on a fellow snowflake woman? Why don't you do that to some patriarchal? I don't know where I was going with that.
What even is Brianna Wu
handle
anymore?
all the harassment and threats that.
She's just a pain in the ass.
But why does she needs a whole person just to handle her Twitter?
She's not even important.
Just give me money.
Who actually cares?
No, she's just looking at that just the same way. She's just like, just give me money.
I just see her sat on her throne, tapping her fingers, going, "Not enough people are quote unquote harassing me. Got to piss them off."
I've got to make something up more like.
Yeah.
Go on. I'm just gonna get angry.
I got. In 1989, there was a study that came out that said 3% of gamers are women. In 2008, a study came out, and 17% of gamers are women. Here in 2015, you can look at the numbers, and between 48 and 52% of gamers are women, and that's very threatening to a very certain kind of gamer. And what they end up doing is they're so threatened by women in their space that they end up threatening us.
No one cares. What you're getting, and you don't understand this, is the same treatment as men. It's framed differently because different things upset women than things that upset men.
Don't get me wrong. I
getting
agree with you.
Treated equal, and you don't like it because you're wankers.
I completely agree with that, but it's more than likely that a man will stalk a woman gamer and treat them to prolonged abuse compared to a man doing that to a man. Or I don't know about actually with a woman doing it to a man. I think that's probably about the same amount.
I don't know the numbers.
Neither do I, but
I'm not willing to make any sort. You can suspect things, but don't forget that you've been taught that men are terrible.
Well, no, it's not. Just
I mean that is the narrative of Western culture: is that men are terrible, women are precious, men are always crap. So
some women are precious.
Keep in mind, yes, some people are precious.
I don't know.
There are men in my life that are precious. There are women in my life that are precious to me.
I don't know any men that are precious. Apart from me, I'm precious.
Well, that's because you're a cuck.
In ways that are quite terrifying.
When it comes to YouTube comments, especially, because they know what you look like and they know some of your background because they've watched your videos, when they say something like, "I'm gonna find you and do this and this to you, and all women can't be trusted," when you see stuff like that.
Okay, where did that last one come from? That's clearly someone who is a genuine misogynist and crazy.
Yeah, absolutely, right. I imagine, though, like, as a girl, if you've got no brothers or you've got no sort of gaming experience and you look at this thing and think, okay, I'll try this out, or you're with a friend or whatever, and you hear that for the first time, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this is exactly the same for men as it is for women, because it is, but trying to like put myself in her shoes, which is obviously difficult, but hearing that for the first time, it's got to be really disconcerting when you're like, I'm just playing a game, and someone's saying something really terrible
it was as
about your
I'm sure it was
vagina.
as disconcerting as the first guy who told me he was going to find me and kill me.
Well, no, don't get me wrong, this is exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying that trying to put myself in their shoes. I mean, I think the first abuse online I ever received, I was playing Star Trek Armada 2.
Well, you deserved it then, really. I mean, come on.
That was such a brilliant game, fuck you. Because obviously when we were playing Unreal Tournament, there was, as far as I'm aware, as I can remember, I don't think there was any voice chat in Unreal Tournament.
You needed TeamSpeak back in the day, man.
Okay, right, yeah.
OG.
And any communication you did with the people that you were playing with, it was all text. But like the first voice stuff I received was Star Trek Armada 2. And that was... No, it wasn't. It wasn't even that. It was probably Call of Duty.
You just turned yourself into a liar, and nothing.
Nothing
I
say now is
just
I
trustworthy.
totally confused the two situations. The first time I ever received proper online abuse via text was Star Trek Armada 2. The first time somebody said they were going to find me and kill me was when I was playing Call of Duty on Xbox.
Of course, all he meant was in game, and you just took it way out of line.
That's when it's like, okay, this is a lot more serious than just playful kind of trash talking.
One of the death threats I got was so serious, they actually made a Law and Order episode about it. And
oh, fuck off.
Oh, I can't believe they mentioned the Law and Order
They
episode.
made a really, really poorly researched, incredibly fucking biased, because you've got loads of mates in media. I'm now one of the most privileged human beings on the face of the fucking planet, with your $200,000 fucking dollars to make a business, and you made a success of it, kind of, sort of, maybe. Fuck off.
You know, someone posted my address and they said, guess what, bitch? I know where you live. You and your husband are going to die tonight. Your dead, mutilated corpse is going to...
And did that happen?
No.
No. Of course it fucking didn't. And if it was a credible threat, you take it to the police and they deal with it. Nobody who is going to come and kill you is going to fucking tell you about it.
No, they'll just do it. That's the thing. That's one of the first things I ever learned as a kid was hard people don't say they're going to do something. They just do it.
Yep.
And people who are full of shit tell you they're going to do it first.
Threats are threats for a reason.
Absolutely, yeah. Not all threats are idle, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that.
The vast majority.
Yeah, the vast majority, yeah, absolutely. The vast majority.
And certainly anybody who's on some fucking anonymous fucking board or some shite, it's just not credible.
No.
And you just ignore it and move on because they're doing the same thing to 100 other people.
Dude, we're talking
I don't
about
think they're going to have time.
Be on the front page of Jezebel tomorrow, and there isn't anything you can do about it. I'm going to cut your husband's tiny Asian penis off and rape you with it until you bleed. You know, the men in our field, they get to spend their time worrying about the jobs that they do. And unfortunately for women in this field, we have this additional layer of really terrible...
Have you ever seen an Asian guy with a big dick?
I don't see a lot of naked Asian guys, Dickie. You'll have to be the expert in this situation, so I'll leave it to you. Have you ever seen an Asian guy with a big dick?
No.
I don't.
I like to think that I've watched my fair share of pornography, and I don't think that I've ever seen one.
You seem to be very specific about the Asian males in your porn then. Okay, that's good to keep in mind.
Just... Well, stuff that we have to deal with on a daily basis.
As a woman, we're always taught to be afraid and be afraid of what's out there and keep your mouth shut. Don't say the wrong thing to the wrong guy. You might get yourself in a situation.
Awareness on the issue has really kind of amped up in the last few years. Even the New York...
Yeah, because people keep making shit up.
You know, don't get me wrong. Girls are taught to be very careful when they're doing stuff because there are some men out there who will do some terrible shit. And, you know, I don't know, it just...
And guys are taught to be tough.
Yes.
In order to deal with the people out there.
Yeah,
who are scum.
Absolutely. So
women are taught to, keep away from it. Men are taught to go and deal with it, which is who's more likely to die in that situation. I don't know. That's what I was always taught. If someone's an asshole, well, you got to be a man and go and deal with it. That's what the vast majority of people I've spoken to. That's their experience as men is being taught to be heroes in a fashion.
Well, that's how I was brought up.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. I mean, don't get... I'm not a hero, but...
No,
I was
clearly
taught
not.
to deal with situations.
Unless you were like Cuck Man, I don't know.
I was taught to deal with situations. I was taught to handle myself because, you know, my dad would always say, like, the only person you can ever really rely on is yourself. And
Superman.
And yeah, obviously.
Maybe Goku.
The great blue blur. And I just,
oh fuck me, that's a fucking...
That's a Smallville reference, yeah.
Smallville
it's not even
reference,
right,
yeah.
it's the red blue blur, or the blue red blur. I don't know.
Oh, the blur. Oh my god, it's a blur.
It's a blur. Alright, keep going, come on.
Times ran a piece on
Nearly
this.
there.
I feel like I want to take responsibility, and I have that chance and that like tiny little platform to affect some change. So then maybe it'll
It's
inspire
such
other
a
women to do it,
beautiful
and then
game,
when
that
you
is.
have enough voices together, you can really move
Yes,
things forward.
If you
Sleep
compare
with it.
what it was like online, even just 2 years ago to now, at least now you know that there are a lot of other people who are going through the same thing.
Do you know what? We read the comments to this before watching the video.
Yeah.
And the people, oh, I can't believe this. Oh, these are terrible. Oh, these insults. Oh, it's the worst thing I've ever heard. And it's pathetic.
Yep.
Like, they're all really crap insults. And you always get, there were other insults, but we can't put them here. Well, then they didn't fucking happen then, did they? If you're not going to tell me, if you're not going to present me the evidence, I'm going to dismiss you out of hand.
Have to stand up because this
I don't know why I find that funny because she's just sat down. Stand up, you lazy bitch.
same way it's been for 30 years is unacceptable.
If you don't challenge things, all you've done is you've just passed it off to the next generation, or the next woman will have to deal with it. It would be a disservice to other women who want to go into this industry if I didn't stand up.
If you didn't treat them all like fucking children, that would be a disservice to women.
While I'm not denying for a second that, you know, girls in this industry have to be tough, so do boys, because
so does everyone.
That's my point. Is
in every industry ever. It's called reality. It's called life. Can you
We all
please
have
stop
to-
fucking dealing with it?
It's just like,
instead of telling everybody else that it's their responsibility.
It's funny.
Oh wait, that's victim blaming, isn't it? Fuck's sake.
Fucking rape apologist. Look at you.
Oh, I love a bit of rape, me. Fucking see that taken out of context straight away.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Once upon a time, it was not fashionable at all for adults to play games. Now you get a lot of content that's
It's still not fashionable for adults to play games.
No, it's not.
actually. Because the old fucks haven't died yet.
I think
Bring that on.
I think my point to that is that our generation, 90s people, are now going to be these people who are still fit. I'm going to play games until my eyes don't let me no more. My eyes and hands, anyway.
There's games you can play when you're blind. Fucking noob.
You know, and I'm gonna keep
Sure,
going
a guy
until I can't
beat
go
Dark
anymore
Souls
because I love games
blindfolded.
so much. But I think right now it's not fashionable. Yeah, absolutely.
rated over 18, therefore it's marketed at adults. So if age is not a thing, then gender certainly
It isn't a
should not
thing.
be a thing.
Nobody.
The male gaming
Who
community,
fucking
especially-
said that? Who said that?
That was that guy.
No, seriously though.
Oh, right.
Like, who of import said that there should be a gender dividing line in the gaming community?
No one.
Exactly.
But their argument would be, yeah, but the targeting of shooter games is towards men. You know, the people who play shooters is aimed at men. What a fucking shock.
Yeah,
And games
absolutely.
like fucking Sunset are aimed at women.
And you know, they were
And
talking
games like
about. Do
Candy
you remember
Crush.
Dragon's Crown a couple of years ago?
Yeah, with the Booberella.
Gigantically boobed sorcerer who was an absolute badass.
Yeah.
Who was that marketed to? Teenage boys. You know, it's just like, who are going to buy these games? Teenage boys are going to buy.
To be fair, that wasn't even what it was about. It was a stylized art style.
Well, no, don't get me wrong.
And part of that style was fucking massive Norks.
Yeah. The other guy, the guys that were in it as well, absolutely.
The guys were fucking
Absolutely.
ridiculous as well.
Yeah, absolutely, completely.
I mean, their
accentuated in
fucking
every
man
way.
peck tits were as big as hers.
I know.
So,
The guy looked
but
like
no one
he could
complained about
flex
that.
his nipple at you and like slash your face with it.
Actually, the people in the industry are just so supportive and so angry that it happens, and it's really comforting to know that most people also agree that this is an awful thing.
Most people are wrong.
And it really paints a picture that it is just a vocal minority and not a representative thing. And you really have to remember that.
In an industry, gaming...
It's all minorities, except for the fact that there are a large group of people who, strangely enough, control the media narrative, and they have a certain agenda, and they're telling everyone, well, look, all gamers, all male gamers are scumbags. Give me money.
Industry where
Give me
it's
money.
bigger and bigger and bigger. Why would you want to go backwards by saying no to women?
I think that things are going to get better, and I like to hope that things are going to get better. It's just, it could take a while, and maybe eventually females will be like the dominant market, and games will change entirely, and we'll have tons of women, and nobody will be mad at people about their gender anymore, and that would be awesome.
That's very idealistic, to say the least. There'll always be sexism.
But the vast majority of people who play games like Call of Duty, like any shooter games, like these fucking massive games, are always going to be men, because that's what they like. And if you'll be sitting there going, well, we need to change this game because there's more women. Even if 75% of gamers turned out to be women and they played proper games as I would fucking represent them.
Yeah, but I think you're saying
we
that...
still don't need to fucking change the games that are already there. Make new games.
I think you're making it too complicated, actually. If it was clear that a core game demographic of women was going to increase, all we would see is the same games that men predominantly play, and then there would be a contingent of women, and they would just make games for girls instead. Look at it's already starting to happen. Look at games, BioWare games specifically, and Bethesda games with RPGs, but not necessarily just RPGs now. Lots of things are starting to change because a lot of girls are playing, who are core gamers, are playing a lot of other stuff. They'll just be catered to, is what I'm saying. They'll be catered to anyway, because the market, the business people will see that, and then they'll try and tap into that market to increase the amount of girls who are playing video games.
Right.
And
One
cater
thing I
games
want to say
specifically for them,
is that there are women being catered to already by the games that are already there.
Absolutely.
But they don't want to change.
What I'm saying is that if tomorrow it goes up by, I don't know how many core women gamers there are,
I'd love to know.
Yes,
I would
so
fucking
would I.
love to know
For
the
argument's
actual
sake-
number of actual core women players.
Let's say, for instance, or for argument's sake, we'll say 20%. If that increases to 40%, the market will change significantly. But that doesn't mean we won't get a new iteration of COD or Assassin's Creed or Far Cry or whatever.
One would hope, but they constantly try to change them. That's my fucking major issue.
Because they're trying to. It's not just because girls. They're trying to innovate just because they're trying to innovate. Look how tired it's getting with other stuff. But
innovation for innovation's sake is always also a bit of a problem.
Absolutely. But what I'm saying to you is that if it jumped or if it doubled in the next 2 years, you would start to see more female catered games. But that doesn't mean that we won't still be getting other stuff that's always been there, because otherwise they will be losing that side of the market. That's how markets work. It's not like it's it's not the apocalypse, for fuck's sake.
I am personally certain that the market's there, someone will cater towards it, and then they'll make lots of money.
Absolutely.
And
that's how it works.
I simply think that nothing needs to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. If it
And
continues to grow,
it's essentially my argument.
That's how markets work. That's
the only
why I
thing that
don't
needs
see
to
the point in
happen
it.
is certain groups of people need to grow the fuck up and learn that they're not fucking special, and that they don't get special treatment just because vagina, or just because they are a vagina. And then everyone will be happy.
Brianna Wu needs to stop making money off of influence.
I thought you were just going to say Brianna Wu needs to fuck off.
Well, she does need to fuck off, but she also needs to stop taking money out of influential child's pockets. Not influential. What is the word?
Influenced. Yeah. The thing is, I mean, it's their money. They can do whatever the fuck they want with it, personally.
Well, no, if they're adults, then I'm fine. Whatever consenting adults do behind closed doors or whatever, it doesn't bother me.
Let's finish off this video and then
go on.
and then we can conclude. Is it just going to be
the quiet clause play and then credits? I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Silence. I wanted the video just to be done so that I didn't have to worry about it.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. All that needs to happen is very little. People will cater towards the markets that exist.
They certainly will, yeah.
And if you're so upset by someone attacking you on a game, saying mean words on the internet, all you have to do is block them.
Yeah, it's such a simple thing, but and while I don't doubt that there are other people that will, create new accounts just to follow other people, these are the people you need to root out and then call the police about. Because most people, once you've blocked them, they'll be like, they blocked me, I trolled you, and then leave you alone. Because that's what they're doing. They don't really care about any of this stuff. They just want the rise. They want the attention.
Some sort of response, yeah. And do you know what? While I'm not a massive fan of them, there are block lists. If you're that fucking serious about never hearing a consenting opinion.
Absolutely, yeah. If you want an echo chamber, then you carry on.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a hug box. But apparently hug box is ableist term. I don't know. I don't keep up.
Can disabled people not hug? Or do they not like boxes?
I don't know. I read it on Twitter once. Like someone said, you shouldn't be wanting a hug box, and then someone just went, hug box is an ableist term. And I was just like, oh, Twitter, you still toxic.
All right. I think we've done enough on this particular subject. We can call it.
Cool. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Thank you, whoever you were. And I'll maybe see you again, never.
No. Fuck off.
Brr.
Brr.